Welcome to the squad. He's Icewater, I'm Puma, and the squad is sponsored by Rayon Cognac. Join the movement. Contact us at www.rayoncognac.com. Also, this summer coming up, our new podcast, That Real Shit, with DeMaurice Waddell and Charles E. Farmer. Stay tuned for that. That's coming up. But we're going to talk sports here. And for those who don't want to say shit, we'll say shh, that real shh. But it's a
telling Uncle Joni, you cussing.
It's a great podcast that's coming up. We've been putting the plans together for a while, and you will be happy with the results from this podcast. We're going to talk some NBA playoffs, the return of Mongo Slade. We're going to talk about that. March Madness, baby. They're increasing the tournament pool from 68 to 76. Let's go to 128 is what I'm saying. Also, we're going to talk some Major League Baseball with the Major League Baseball report. We're going to talk about the fight yesterday with Usyk, the heavyweight champion. Had a little struggle, but we'll talk about that. And then we'll have our last second shot. But let's talk NBA playoffs. You have OKC up 2-1 against the Spurs. I'm going to have you lead off on that. And then the Knicks making it 3-0 in their series. And Mongo Slade returns. I'm not sure why people keep signing this guy for millions of dollars, knowing that he doesn't play defense, and this is what he does in the playoffs. It's like automatic. You know Christmas is coming. You know, the Detroit's going to play in the turkey game on Thanksgiving, and you know James Harden's not going to show up in the playoffs. Your eye test of the playoffs, bro.
I was going to go with the reverse, but let's start this way. New York Knicks up 3-0 on Cleveland. And I know Knicks fans are ecstatic. They were saying they need to change their coach, and that's all they need to do. Looks like your wish is about to come true. I'm not going to be a hater. Yeah, I am. I'm not sure if you're going to win anything. Y'all just too much for me, okay?
Oh,
that's why most people that don't live in New York on the East Coast is kind of tired of y'all, okay? I'm just
already
saying. Y'all don't know how to win. Y'all don't know how to win.
Already?
Y'all know how to. Yeah.
Y'all just. We're tired of us already?
Yeah. Look, yeah, because anyway, there's other teams for you out there that you just, when you win something, you lose your mind. We don't know what it would be like if the Cleveland Browns ever won the Super Bowl, but that's for another day. So, but anyway, New York is up 3-0. Let me bring that back because y'all say I'm not a hater. Y'all just too damn emotional. You got to win something first. But anyway, so the Knicks lead 3-0 over Cleveland. Okay, and the Knicks have been playing ball. You got to give it to them. Happy for their fans. They're excited, ecstatic. They want to be on the main stage of the finals, which it seems like it's going to happen. So on that end, congratulations. Congratulations for making it this far. Seems like you're going to make it, unless you just kind of fall and cave in. I don't think that's going to happen. But to Cleveland Cavaliers, really, I live in the state of Ohio. We talked about James Harden. I used to be a big fan a long time ago. And I said, oh no, he's just misunderstood. He doesn't have the right people around him. Oh, he's just not in the right situation. If he ever get in the right situation, he gonna show you who he is. And damn it, I was right. He's showing us who he is. It's not a good look, James. Oh. And I like him. I know he has fun. He does what he has to do. But I got one stat, and I'm gonna get out the way on that one. And then I'm gonna talk about the next series, and we can talk about the next one. I just have one stat. James Harden will go down as one of the greatest scorers of NBA history. Scorers, okay? Has over the years, he's compiled a lot of points. He's shown you he can't have a complete game sometimes, triple doubles, things of that nature. He has shown us that. He will go down in history as one of the greatest scorers of all time. But he will not go down in history as one of the best clutch performers, playoff time, postseason. He's going to probably go down as maybe one of the worst. And right now we're seeing it live and in color right before our eyes. Here's my stat. In 3 games, James Harden is 5 of 22 from three-point land. Let me say that again to you. He made 5 3-pointers of the 22 that he was taking in 3 games. That's all you need to know. And as you watch these games, you say it's just him. He was brought over to make a difference in the playoffs, and they need him now. You can point to other guys, Mitchell, maybe some other people, but they brought James Harden over with in mind that he would serve a purpose. He has not done that at all, which means they're going to be closed out soon enough, I believe. And a lot of it has to do with James Harden's lack of performance.
Sometimes it's hard to believe that NBA teams are this stupid, but now I'm saying that they are because you haven't seen this guy play in prior situations like this. I mean, I've been saying it for years. I've been saying it for years. He's a defensive liability. It's like he's lost out there on the court. He's lost. He's not playing. He's watching a basketball game. He's like us. He's watching the basketball game. And when he gets the ball, that's when he livens up and tries to do something. But I think people are getting sick of the flopping. Even the refs are not calling it, too much anymore. They'll still call him flopping and all that other stuff. And I hate watching games when he is playing because the games are going to last longer because he's not trying to get to the foul line and get free throws. And he's a defensive liability. I gave him the nickname Mongo Slade years ago because he looks like Bill Cosby out there in one of Bill Cosby's old movies. When he played the character Mongo Slade, is because it's like he's a phony to me. And yeah, he'll go down in history as one of the great scorers, but he also is going to go down in history as one of the worst defenders ever. And when you saw that first game, when they had a 20 to 22 point lead, and the game plan was simple with the Knicks: whoever has the ball and Harden's in front of you, go at him. Go at him. This is how we're going to come back and do this. And that's what they did. He had no answers. And I blame the coach for leaving him in there as a defensive liability. If he's not shooting well in the offense and he's not guarding anybody, you got to get somebody else in there to do that. And so it's part of the coaching also. But NBA teams, and if he doesn't play for Cleveland next year, there'll be another stupid NBA team who'll pay him millions to do the same crap that he's been doing for the last few years. Kobe Bryant said a long time ago, the late Kobe Bryant said, his style of basketball is never going to win a championship. And it's making Kobe Bryant's statement true. He's not going to win a championship as a point guard. If you can't defend, it's almost like they don't pay him to defend. Like they agree in the contract, like, we want your points, but don't worry about defending. Somebody else will defend. And so it looks like he's doing that because sometimes when his man gets behind him, he's looking at the center of the power forward to cover for him. And he's just watching the guy that he was guarding get by him. And now, teammates have to go get off their man and go guard him. He's just a defensive liability. And then Cleveland Cavaliers came up with another kind of stupid game plan and leaving Josh Hart open for the second game. That didn't work out well. Last night, it looked like they just gave up. It looked like they just gave up, like, you know what, we can't beat this team. We cannot beat this team. Even Pop, who's not even watching the series, like, Cleveland can't beat the Knicks. They can't. They're not equipped to. And you give away Garland for this? I think Garland would have done a better job defensively than what James Harden is doing. And I think he would have put up more points and wouldn't have that stat that you had if he was playing. But let's go to the San Antonio and OKC series. And I'm just come on and say you can tell the fix is in with the refs in this one because OKC could just lay down on the court, nobody touching them, and they'll blow the whistle. But they're basically wrestling with Wemby on the post or anywhere he goes, just holding him wherever he goes. He don't even have the ball. They're just holding him up after that first game where he just dominated the center from OKC. They put the backup center in, and all he did was, I think the game plan was, listen, foul him, keep him away from the basket. That's what he did. And the referees just swallowed the whistle. And so I know you're going to talk about what Charles Barkley said about, why people complaining about, roughhousing Wembley. I'm not complaining about that. I'm complaining you can't hold a man to keep him from moving around the court. You can't put him in a full Nelson every play. You can't grab the jersey and just keep him and not call it. You just can't do it. And I feel that the NBA is much softer than it was back in the day. I ain't opposed to the hard fouls. I'm not. But all this flagrant one and flagrant two on just regular fouls in the NBA is turning me off. I don't really want to see it. And if you're going to, Max Kellerman said this best. He said either the refs don't see it, and that's hard to believe because he's supposed to be the best refs all season. Even they Either they got a call from the league to say, hey, this is the way we want you to call it, or they're doing it themselves. And I tend to agree with that. I tend to agree with that because I'm like, finally, somebody's really saying this and calling it out. Your thoughts on the San Antonio and OKC series?
Great series, first of all. Okay, great series. It's kind of lived up to what I thought would happen. Not so much what I thought happened, but from the fact of how competitive it would be, from the standpoint of that San Antonio dominated the regular season series, right? They won the majority of the games, probably what 75% of the games, if that, if not more. But in the playoffs, it's just different. It's a different way. Things you just kind of figure out whether or not these teams have the same chemistry because OKC has a little bit more experience now collectively, right, compared to San Antonio. But take nothing from San Antonio because Wemby has shown you that, woo, he's the truth. I got to give him his accolades and credit him because early on I was like, yeah, but man, he's a force. In regards to the way things are being called, I understand it, but I'll say this. This reminds me of 80s basketball. For y'all, those of you who are not born, the 1980s, there used to be stuff where they used to, in the 70s, where they would let you hand check and put your hands on people, and they would have to make baskets when you all up on them. But I wouldn't say hardcore 80s. I'll say this. Because the state of the game, to me, has become so soft, when an individual like a Hartenstein does come up on, particularly on a superstar, that the media, the world is going crazy over, and rightfully so. Wemby is showing you that he's really amazing and he's coming of age. But when you see a guy like Hartenstein start to get a little bit closer on the player, putting his hands on him, and not only that, OKC now has started to put maybe like three different players on Wemby at different times. So, for instance, you might have a point guard that might be around the ball. So when he catches the ball, they're trying to slap the ball out of his hands. You might have a power forward, a different way that might be trying to play him, keep him outside the basket more. And then when Wemby does get close to the basket, you get a Hardenstein who's going to be more physical. Might put an elbow in his back or hold on to him or wrist or whatever. But what they're trying to do with these three different individuals or different looks of defense, they are literally trying to get in his head. And they have frustrated Wemby early on. We talked earlier about how long will that last. I don't think it's going to last because he's an amazing player. He's
Yeah.
going to overcome it. But you can just tell that he has been frustrated at one point. And a team like OKC, and people might say it's cheating or whatever, but they just trying to get a game. And they got the game. They got that game back. They're trying to get a game. Now it's like moving forward. But I think that OKC will keep trying to push. San Antonio is not going to give up. I think it's going to be still a hell of a series. I'm not sure who's going to win, but I think San Antonio is going to be pushing through, and Wemby's going to be Wemby. Okay, I think eventually Wemby might be get 40 points a game or whatever, and I think truthfully San Antonio is looking at a certain kind of way they're going to try to push through. But OKC's like, if Wemby gets 60, let him have 60. We just don't want anybody else to beat us. My only concern with San Antonio, two concerns actually, is the turnovers. And sometimes they seem like a very inexperienced team. The other thing too, though, is now that when you look at De'Aaron Fox is back, supposedly playing in the series, how does the coach handle the perspective of playing time? If Dylan Harper played real well early on when Fox was out, they seemed like they had a little chemistry that really gave San Antonio problems. So now that he's back, both of the players are back. How do you handle that? Does Fox become automatically the starter again? Does Harper go back on the bench? How do you gauge that? I think that has a lot to do with chemistry. It's going to be interesting to see how the coach handles it. Some people say, oh, that's no big deal. Yes, it is. Because when you're playing with a team that is pretty much 8, 9 deep in OKC that does a lot of things, the small things matter. So I'm really interested to see how this plays. I'm happy for San Antonio, but OKC's been there before. And the other thing too is I think that the MVP SGA is saying showing you that he has to step up now. Even Chet Holmgren is starting to come around a little bit, but it's not even that. What they really are going at, we collectively as a team had to give everything we have to beat this team because San Antonio is that good. So now Chet Holmgren will go to the basket and instead of trying to dunk on somebody, he'll drop the ball to Hartenstein because there's nobody back there because Wimby's already been sacrificed coming out forward trying to check that guy. And somebody's behind is not seeing what's going on. So the point here is they are collectively working together to try to beat San Antonio. And I think that if any edge, that's the edge they're going to have. They have more players collectively as a unit that can get things done than San Antonio does.
And I'll be the conspiracy theorist here. And they have the edge of the referees because every time they fall to the ground, a whistle blows for OKC, and it's not fair. I'd rather it be called fairly on both sides. Just call fairly. If you're going to call that for OKC, call it for the Spurs. But I saw, and this is just one example of play. Harrison was standing by a player. The player just dropped to the ground, and the whistle blows. And I'm like, they kept showing the replay over and over again, and I'm like, he didn't touch him. What's going on? What's going on? SGA spends more time. He's like Embiid in OKC. Spends more time on the ground than actually playing, and it's sickening to watch. So yeah, I agree. In some respects, it's a good series because they're both competitive. But the way the refs are getting involved in these games just makes you wonder. Just like I said with Max Kellerman, what's going on in these games? And the NBA has to do something about it because it's turning off more fans. The other thing about this is that Charles Barkley mentioned this, and I said this before the playoffs started. I don't know what network has what games anymore. So this has to stop. And I know it's about money. You and I have talked about this. But when you have all these different games on different networks, I'm not breaking my neck trying to figure out what network is on tonight. I'm not. If somebody calls me and says, hey, man, you're checking out the game on such and such and such, oh, yeah, okay, I'll find it. But I'm not searching for it anymore. It needs to be on one network where everybody get to go find it. Maybe I'm the old dude in the room, but I remember when the playoffs were in CBS, and you can always go, wearing the bifocals, always go to CBS and know the game is going to be on this particular station. You got it on ABC, you got it on Prime, you got it on some, I don't, all these different channels. And so what it makes me think, and I said this earlier before we got on, is that the NBA and sports is becoming, it's not for the fans anymore. It's really not for the fans anymore. It's for the folks that can afford to go see the game, who can afford to pay all those different prices on the stations that they're paying for to play on these games. It's not for the fans anymore. You look at the ticket prices with the Knicks. You can't go to a game if you're a regular fan. You got to stay outside and jump up and down and rant and rave out there because you can't go to the game. You can't watch it on TV if you can't afford to pay for it. So they're pricing out the real fan to really help them get to this particular point. And you're wondering if they're going to outprice themselves so much where the folks who can't afford to go, you know what, that was fun. I'm not doing it anymore. And now you're going to try to get the fans back. Your thoughts on that?
Wow, that's a lot. He was strong at that point, strong. But Stein,
Stein.
but I understand that. I can see that perspective. I think I told you a while back that this is about business, it's about money. Yeah, it's not about who can find the game. Good luck. It's just that's what I'm saying. That's why they have it on different, like college basketball. They have it on True TV and TNT and SBC and the ESPN and whoever, PNC or whatever. But it's just from a standpoint of the money is there. Somebody wants to be a part of it. If you can watch it, great. They're about making that money. Really don't care who tunes in or not. I mean, it's nice, but it's about getting the money up front, which is going on. About the other point that you mentioned about getting back to those referees and stuff, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna get out the way. I'm gonna run real quick so you can't catch me. Anyway, we're on different screens. I think as a New York Knicks fan, I just want you to get ready, get practice ready. So if OKC does advance, you get practice of complaining about the refs already right now because it's gonna happen the same way when they play in the finals. So now, so all New York Knicks fans, get ready. Don is laying down the gauntlet to tell you how to get ready because I promise you, it's gonna be some frustration times that if OKC advances about what's going on about the referees and whatnot. Also, counterpoint, since the Knicks are going to make it, appears there. If San Antonio makes it, you think you complaining about calls now? When we gonna get every damn call against when they playing the Knicks? I'm telling you. So you think that the fix is in now? Let San Antonio win. Wemby's gonna look like a superstar, and the same thing he's talking about right now, and allegedly that OKC is doing to Wemby. People gonna say the same thing about the Knicks when it comes to Wemby. So just be careful. Be very careful. I could be wrong. Y'all can come for me. You know, I got strong back. I'm good with that. I'm just telling you, get ready. Because what he's saying right now, he's laying it down, particularly if the Knicks don't win. He laying it down where if they would have not done that to my team, we'd be champions. Cry me a river, baby. Cry me a river.
So here's this coming from a non-Knick fan, Pop, who says, man, the way I figure it, there's a lot of money in New York. The biggest market wins the championship.
So you said so it's gonna be fixed, what you're telling me.
That's what Pop said. The biggest market wins this championship this year.
Okay, and they have not won since Willis Reed.
Yeah.
That's been how long they been the biggest market?
They've been the biggest market for a long time, but haven't been this good for a long time. So the biggest market.
So they were not good with Bernard King. They were not good with Patrick Ewing.
You know
They're
what?
not good with your favorite player, Charles
We
Smith.
should learn from this with Pop with the NFL picks. When Pop says something and goes with something, we usually laugh and then like, damn, he was right. So
let me just say this.
That's something. That's
Pop,
food for thought. That's all I'm putting out there. Food for thought.
Pop, I love you dearly. You know I do. You know you riding and dying up in here. You know that. But that Knicks, I can only go so far. Anything else? Okay, yeah, Pop, you got. But yeah, no. But if he did, you might be right though. They could fix it. You know what? They could fix it, and if New York wins, the whole world will be excited.
New York
will
blow up. It will.
Yeah, if New York
not
wins,
exist anymore.
If the Knicks win, everybody's not gonna be happy. It's gonna be the people on the East Coast and them, because you know how y'all are. Some of y'all anyway, not everybody. A lot of y'all.
I try not to be like that. I try not to be like that. So,
hey, it's like if the Cleveland Browns ever win the Super Bowl, y'all must shut the world down because they're gonna be so annoying and they're gonna be over the top. It was bad enough with LeBron winning with the Cavs since 1964. If the Browns win the Super Bowl, which ain't gonna happen, if the Browns win the Super Bowl in my lifetime, man. So,
all right, let's go to the NCAA and Ice. How many teams are they bringing in next year? 2020?
I don't know. 64, 64, 56, 22, 18.
The NCAA tournament has been expanded and it's going from 68 teams to 76 teams. Now, I'm thinking this is a slow walk to 128, where I said years ago, let's go to 128. Let's shut down a whole month, and have March Madness go from 128 to 64 and regular scheduled programming. I've been saying this and preaching this. They're inching their way up there. And check out any news feed on this story, how they broke it down. And they're doing it for more student athletes and teams and schools to get access to March Madness, which I think is the wholesome, if you can see the halo over my head, the wholesome way to explain why they're expanding this field. But your thoughts on this, bro?
Do you really want me to tell you what's going on?
Yeah, because I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it, loving it, loving it. It gives more teams in. I'm like, let's cut the bullshit. Let's go to 128 because this is where it's going anyway. I think they're trying this out. If it works, I think they're going to keep increasing it until they double the 64. I think that's what's going to happen. And within maybe 5 to 7, 8 years, I think it will happen, bro.
So while you're at it, since we're going to 128, let's get those participation certificates ready for everyone. Everyone, you want a card? You want a card? We all get cards. You need what do you need? So let's get those participation certificates ready. Okay, everybody gets something because you participated. You didn't earn it. You participated. So we're going to 76 games. How about this? Instead of increasing the number from 76 up to 76 to 128, the teams that don't feel like they didn't get in, how about you win some more damn games? How about that? Right? Why don't you play Colgate? Oh, they're pretty good now. Play somebody else. Play Bowling Green. Get those extra 3 games so you can up your win total. That's what everybody's doing anyway. But to be over here whining and crying, oh, we didn't get in. We think, hey, change your schedule so you can win more games. Are you serious? Puma's also very similar to the same guy that was complaining that we got too many football college bowl games of insignificance. They don't matter. What the hell you think we're going to have with these 76 and 126, 28 teams getting in? Again, they're doing it. Again, what about the student athletes? What about the kids missing class? Not going to school.
Kids. Funk them kids. They're making money for the school. They're making money for the school. And this is
his whole attitude has changed.
More student athletes.
I
ended my statement with more student athletes and teams in school to get access to March Madness.
We need them to get access to them damn books so they can get a degree. How about that? Because once you break your leg and you can't play no more, everybody don't get NIL. Everybody don't get NIL. Ask a couple of offensive linemen on football, college basketball, dudes, whatever. Everybody not getting them big checks, okay? They're not. But I'll say this to you on this last point. You said, screw the kids, heck with the kids. Okay, that's cool. That's what you're doing. That's what you said.
They're grown people now, so they ain't.
Okay. I'm all about the athletes. Always
getting paid.
My final point on this is going from whatever we had, 64 to 68 to now 76 and eventually to 100 something, whatever teams are going to be in it. The reason why they're making this move is if you allow more opportunities or more teams to get in and get ready for the tournament or be in the tournament, that means that more people are going to be inclined to think maybe this is their team's year. Maybe they're going to be able to go a long way. So what are they going to do? In October and November, when the NCAA releases those applications to sign up for the Final Four tickets, they're going to dive in. Hell, Bowling Green going now, we got a shot. This might be our year, Bowling Green. So people start filling out those applications. NCAA takes in all that money. They take the money and they put it in some kind of fund. I don't know if it's CD, IRA, whatever the hell it is, Rothschild fund, whatever it may be. That money sits for 90 days at minimum. They make all the interest off of that money and they award the tickets to those who win through the raffle. Those that do not win the raffle for the tickets, they are simply returned the deposit and receive a nice little warm greeting saying, hey, thanks for trying. You didn't win this year. Keep trying next year. But here's your original amount of money that you sent. Thank you for being a sucker and letting us make money off of you for 90 damn days, tax-free. That's what they're saying, but you didn't hear that because you so caught up in trying to get tickets to the Final Four. Check this out. One, your team probably ain't going. Okay, you're not going. Ain't going. Yeah, I said ain't. I said it's not going. How you want me to use the English language? Your team ain't going. Be honest. Be real. They're using you for 90 days, using your money, and this is what it is. This is a game. NCAA is desperate right now to remain a player in the game. I know this should have been my final take. They're trying to remain a player in the game. But the bottom line is they lost football. That's all sponsor oriented now. And they're scared they might lose basketball. So now everybody can get in because they don't want the schools to form their own organizations and move forward. That's why they're letting everybody in. But hey, you like it, I love it. Good luck trying to find them damn games on True TV, TBS, CBS, TNT, TBT, CBB, CNN, CBS, ABC,
Let me
ABC
stop.
West,
Let me stop.
CBN, all whatever, all that.
Uh,
One of the 22 ESPN channels. Good luck.
let me move on from this. All I want to say to finish this segment off is more games, more excitement, more beer, more wings. Let's go. Let's go.
More fire sticks. Bet y'all buy them fire sticks then, won't you? More
Let's
fire
go.
sticks.
Let's go. Headed to 128. Headed to 128. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
We they started jailbreaking fire stick service. I don't know nothing about that. I heard it on TV.
I don't know
Anyway.
nothing about that either. You don't know Nato Jones? I don't know Nato Jones. Give us the Major League Baseball report, man.
Oh my God. You took me off my stuff. I'm messed I am messed up. I'm sitting going like he had me in an influx. Felt
uh,
like I was hyperventilating. Let's go to
uh,
Major League Baseball report. In the American League East, Tampa Bay Rays are leading that division by 5.5 over the Yankees. Still early. We already know that. We're going to move forward over to the Central. Cleveland Guardians lead that division over the White Sox by 3.5. Still got to be really impressed by the White Sox who playing good baseball early on, but it's still very early. Moving over to the West, the whatever you want to call them, Athletics are leading that division at only playing 500 baseball by 1.5 games over Seattle. So again, whatever you want to call, what you want to call them, or whatever you want to call them, Athletics are leading in the West of the American League. Moving over to the National League East, the Atlanta Braves are leading that division by 9.5 games over Philadelphia. Very impressive early on for the Braves. Playing pretty good baseball, or maybe that just the other teams are just really struggling right now. Moving over to the Central, the Milwaukee Brewers lead that division by 2 games over St. Louis Cardinals. The Chicago Cubs are 2.5 back. The Cincinnati Reds, 4.5 back. Let's go, Reds. So still early on the season. And that finally we will move over to the West in the National League and same bat time, same bat channel. Los Angeles Dodgers keep spending money, keep winning. What's different there? Not much. San Diego's in second place, back a half game. Dodgers 8-2 in their last 10. Have a 1 game winning streak, 15-10 at home. Just I don't know. It's they scored 269 runs, allowed 167. The Dodgers are a machine. They just keep getting better. Nobody says anything about it except for Pop. Pop, stop saying that now. Stop saying it. We don't want to hear it. They keep winning. Let them be, Pop. Let them be.
yeah, they got one of the biggest payrolls, if not the biggest payroll in baseball. And, to the victors go the spoils. And I don't see them, I don't see anybody stopping them unless the Padres really kind of play more consistent baseball and take them out. So Padres not going to take them out. I don't see an American League team that can take the Dodgers out at this particular point. Let's talk about the fight. Usyk fought Rico, and you saw the fight, and I've seen only highlights of the fight because I'll throw this in my last second shot about what I think about these fighters that don't have that much experience. But it seems like there's a controversy that the fight was stopped too soon after he knocked Rico down, and it was stopped in the 11th round. So your thoughts on the fight, man?
A surprising fight from the standpoint of Usyk has done so many great things and taken down some of the better competition. And to fight a guy that was a kickboxer, Rico, and let him stay around, I guess, as long as he did, and had that much trouble with him, is one of those things that kind of make you scratch your temple. Watching the fight, one thing I did notice, and I don't know if I can. if I'm on point or not. But the fact is that Rico's a really big guy, right? And that's something that Usyk has gotten used to from Anthony Joshua, right? To just fighting Fury,
Period.
Tyson Fury as well. So his size and Dubois has never been an issue with Usyk does. But this particular situation, Rico almost purposely used his size to lean on Usyk and just try to make it an ugly fight and try to stay away from Usyk too. And I think that played a big part. Normally you would see Usyk being able to maneuver and stay away from this big fella, but he literally leaned on Usyk at times to kind of make it very uncomfortable. And to remind you that Rico was trained by, I think, some of the fellow folks in the Fury quarter. So you can see some of the tactics where you lean on the guy, you catch him with the elbow, I'm allegedly, but you just see some of the things that were going on, how he used his physicality to try to pressure Usyk. And it worked for quite some time. But I think his inexperience, and I think that Rico started to feel really comfortable and he took chances and he became very fatigued as well. And that's what really happened where Usyk just kind of said, all right, well, you might be winning the fight, you might be up, but enough with the games. I'm about to show you why I'm this great and why I put these things on people like that because you got too comfortable in night night. And that's pretty much what happened. And Usyk was like, no excuses. This is boxing. Anything can happen. But in the end, we still won.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think about the controversy? They said that they stopped the fight too soon.
Two things. The referees don't know how much time is left until you hear that. You hear that knock or that bang, that means it's 10 seconds left. Referees are just kind of watching the action. If it was stopped earlier, people thought they wanted to see Rico go out, what they call on the shield. They wanted to see him knocked out where he couldn't get up and he couldn't defend himself. He was on his way out and on his way down. The problem why the referee stopped it is because Rico was not throwing any punches back when the barrage of combinations was coming his way. And it just so happens that there was only like 2 seconds left in the round. But if the referee had not stopped it at that point, we went to the final round. And I still believe before halfway through, Usyk still would have stopped him. It was just people were all excited because some of the cards were showing you that Rico was winning. And people were excited and they thought he deserved a chance to kind of see if he could finish the job. But that's boxing. That's the way that it is. So I think eventually Rico still would have lost because his lack of discipline at some point. He was very fatigued. And Usyk, as the champion as he is showing you its levels to this. And I think eventually he would have knocked him, took him out anyway. So, but hey, you didn't like it. I don't think it would have mattered anyway. Usyk still would have won, even though he might have been behind on the cards. I think at some point they even said going into the last round or to that 11th round, it was even. So it was live. They were talking about that as well. But regardless of the fact, you had to give it up to Usyk, who once again has shown you he finds a way to get out of tough situations and probably is one of the best fighters we've seen in a long time in that division.
Thank you for that, man. Let's go to our last second shot. I'll do my last second shot first. And one of the things that, and it's relating to this particular fight, I'm wondering seriously now, what do the rankings mean? Because here you have a fighter, Rico, who only had one professional fight, and he gets to fight the champion. And you have all these other fighters who have been working towards fighting for a championship in the WBC and the WBA and all this other stuff, all the other ranking systems and boxing bodies who are ranking these guys, and they're not getting their shot. So my thing is, what do we need the rankings for? What do we need the rankings for if you get a guy who maybe is a champion or was a champion in another fighting area gets to just come in and jump in over those guys to fight the heavyweight champion? And it's in other weight classes also where somebody out of the blue comes in to fight. And I've had this gripe about this even with Floyd Mayweather, where you had Conor McGregor come on and fight for him for the 50th. I'm like, it's got to stop. It's ruining boxing. So Rico gave a great effort. I don't, dispute his effort, and he made a valiant effort to win the heavyweight championship. And Frank Ngannou did the same thing with Tyson Fury. But when are we going to stop with the rankings if it doesn't matter? And anybody from any genre of fighting can come in and fight. So the rankings to me mean nothing at this particular point. If you can have some outsider from boxing who haven't worked on the craft to jump over all these other fighters to fight for the championship. Your last second shot.
Yeah, my last second shot. I've been all over the place right today, but Orlando Magic, as you're watching these playoffs move forward, you have to ask yourself, or do you have to ask yourself, who are we going to choose as our next coach? And I think the coach makes a difference along with the front office makes a difference as to how you move forward and how far your team goes now in that regard. So the candidates are Billy Donovan, who is a former coach with the Bulls recently. Prior to that, he's with the University of Florida. 11 seasons of head coaching experience. So the question is that the right guy for you? Remember a few years back, he actually accepted the job and turned it down to go back to Florida. Is that water under the bridge now? Or what are we doing? He might be the best guy because at some point you need a man who can work with younger players and understand how to move forward. And he might be the guy with Banchero, Wagner, and Desmond Bain to kind of help them get them over the top. There's also Mike with Budenholzer. He used to be with the Milwaukee Bucks, potentially there. Not sure if that's the right way. He also was with Phoenix. The great Tom Thibodeau is also being mentioned. I think that's a wrap over there too. Terry Stotts, who's also the former head coach of Portland and a recent assistant with Golden State. There's a lot of names out there, even though Sam Cassell got a mention, which I don't think is going to happen. So my point in again is, Orlando, you're so close. We need to have a motivator, somebody that can help these guys move forward. Because right now you just blame the coach, maybe because he didn't have enough experience or you were looking to make a move. Make sure you get somebody that really can make a difference because that might require making a few changes on your roster as well. You need to have a person that really has more or less like an iron fist and get things done. Otherwise, you're going to be repeating yourself as you were this past year. Good luck with your choice. Make sure it's a good one.
Jason Kidd. He just got released from Dallas. So, and bring Kyrie Irving with you. That's our show. We'll see you next week. Peace.